Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Thursday Night Takeover live from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. And a little bit of a different host here tonight. MMS Money Racing putting on the event. Michael Triscaro and PGR eSports should be back next week. But we still got a lot of great action here tonight, so I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Before we get any further, let's get right down trackside and get into tonight's starting grid. Taking the pole for Nightmare Esports, it's the 14 car of Vicente Guerrero, puts down a 50.772. John Ellis Jr. will roll off second, takes the outside pole. Matthew Baker for NBG Motorsports will start back in third. Ian Martin makes a return here tonight, and that 98 car, he will start fourth, with Devin Ray for the Jack Shack back in fifth. Matt Lee rounds out row 3 and 6. David Sheets in 7th for McCullough Motorsports. Jeff Merck back in 8th. Dalton Martin in 9th, and Cody Nagels rounds out your top 10. Moving on back to row number 6, it's a PGR eSports driver, JR Miller, next to the Jack Shack driver, Trevor Oswinoth on the outside in 12th. Moving on back to the 13th position, it's Sean Corbett, Nash Brambilla in 14th. Joe Herta back in 15th, Landon Velicki in 16th. Jared Haynes 17th, Chase Mastretta on the outside of row number 9 in 18th. Steven Scott Jr. in 19th, and Brian Hennings back in 20th. Ryan Bay starts 21st here tonight. Tristan Bruce in 22nd. Carl Matz 23rd. Jonathan Herbert in 24th. Moving on back to that 25th position, it's James Waring, Noah Rainwater 26th. Mike Allen and Mark Vondell make up row 14. Brandon Matz and Steve Sizemore round out your top 30. Mike Davenport starts 31st. Malik Ray in 32nd. Zach Roethlisberger back in 33rd. Dylan Jones 34th. Kyler Wynn, the Canadian in the field, starts in 35th. John Ward in 36th. Joshua McCullough, Ken McCullough Jr., the two McCullough Motorsports teammates, back in 37th and 38th. Tucker McLennan 39th, and Joey Galati in 40th. Christopher Carter rounds out the field in 41st. Briefly looking at your race info here tonight, we are at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. 2.5 miles, over 30 degrees of banking in the corners, and we are in the nighttime, so a cool track temp to start this race. 60 laps, and the fuel percentage is going to be a little bit different than what we initially had listed pre-race. We'll get into that here in just a moment. But pace car makes a left turn. It's time to go racing into the Geico restart zone. We go. Green flag is in the air. We're racing at Daytona. Lap 1 complete, and it is the 24 car of Matthew Baker who leads the way on the outside line. Vicente Guerrero for Nightmare Esports took the pole and still leads that inside. He's getting a push right now from the two of Devin Ray. David Sheets, well, you talk about a guy that we haven't seen in a little while, but certainly looks like he knocked off the rust pretty quickly. He's got himself running already up a position from where he started this race at as he continues to roll third on that inside. You notice, again, 60 laps. We are in the Xfinity cars, and this seems to be kind of the car that's been favored by some, not liked by others. And the big reason, I guess the controversy, if you will, around it has been whenever we have a hot track temp, these cars become a lot to handle, especially as you get late in the run. But here tonight, that should not be much of an issue. Again, cool track temp. The whole point of this race is kind of, we're in Daytona week in real life. We know that the Xfinity cars are going to be here tomorrow, and then the Cup Series, of course, on Saturday. So everybody looking to try to find victory lane and the big payouts on the table here tonight. And with a stacked field, things are going to get interesting, especially depending on if we get cautions or if we can make it to that first green flag pit stop. It seems like once you kind of get that first one out of the way, things tend to get a little bit easier from there, but we got to make it to that point first. Now, again, looking at the fuel here tonight, it is 50%, 3 sets of tires for all these drivers. That includes the one that you start this race on. So you got 2 sitting in the pits. And with that 50% fuel margin, these cars should be able to make it somewhere around lap 20. So if it went green all the way, you're looking at 2 stops to make it the length of this 60-lap race. No 3 wide just yet. Still 2x2 as they work their way through the trial. We'll hear 4 laps complete. And we do have a new leader up top. It's Vicente Guerrero. He's going to give Devin Ray a chance to cool his temps on the bottom. And that number 2 Toyota Supra, Sheets is trying to pull up. So is the 316. I believe that might be Dalton Martin. Sure enough, it is him and Ian Martin. Good to see those two back in the field. We know how good they are in these Xfinity cars. We'll see if they can maybe find themselves in a cash spot here tonight. But as they work down the super stretch again, nobody has dared to take it 3 wide just yet. In fact, they go 2x2 all the way to about 25th. And then look at this. They actually start to single file out a little bit. And some of these guys have got to be careful that are sitting all the way towards the back of this pack that they don't lose touch with the leaders. Unfortunately, it looks like for Joey Galati and Trevor Oswanoth, that is the case. They sit 40th and 41st, and yeah, they've lost touch with that lead draft. They're going to need a caution if they want to get back up there, unless they can get a little bit of help from something else, but I just don't see it. Steve Sizemore, currently the last car. That is one of the Hyper Motorsports drivers that is tagging on to that lead pack, and he currently runs just behind the 36 of Christopher Carter. As they need to make sure that they're careful, too, as they try to catch this group as they work their way down the super stretch. Again, 5.5 laps complete of 60 here tonight. And now looking to go to the inside, Vicente Guerrero working both lanes, and he's doing a great job of it right now, not having any issues now. And caution's out here. Trouble for the first time here tonight. We got a couple on the apron. Oh, man, big impact further back for the 23. Oh, and then late, another huge impact. Well, we got debris everywhere. A lot of cars involved. As if you go through the grass, that's Steve Sizemore in the 8. Mark Von Dell's in it. The 23, Nash Brambilla, he's in it. He's got heavy damage as well. And again, this was the first caution of the night. There was no fast repair for this race. So the damage you're seeing for some of these drivers, most notably Nash Brambilla, this is going to end his night. And with only about a tenth of the race complete here, 6 to 60 down, that is a really, really early exit for the PGR eSports driver, who, of course, was looking for a good run here tonight. And this strike looks like it collected quite a few more than we initially thought. So let's go back and see exactly where everything goes wrong. This is working into turn number 3. And just before they get ready to climb the banking, there is some contact right there between the 23 of Nash Brambilla and the 1. I believe that's Joe Herta, unless that's somebody else running the 1 car, which it could be. Let's see. I think that's going to be Joe Herta, though. And we'll go to the chopper view for this. All right, so yep, sure enough, it is Joe Herta. You see the white and black 1 on the bottom, and watch what happens here. He starts to work up the racetrack. Now, the question is, does Nash follow him? Or does the 23 have a separate issue here? The 1 starts to go up. There's a bit of a checkup on the top. Nash maybe moves down a little bit, but not really sure exactly where Joe Herta was trying to go. I'm not sure if there was a checkup that he saw that we just couldn't see in his lane, or if maybe he thought the middle was open based off how high they were running, because you can almost kind of see, and this may have been exactly what it was. Watch from his cockpit view. He can see Jeff Merkin from this angle. He sees Cody in that 3rd lane, and he might think that that middle's open. So I think that's why he shoots out a line to take it. And you actually see he starts to correct it back to the left, but unfortunately just a little bit too late, as Nash Brambilla had already started to work down a little bit, and the 1 had already made that move up. And then in a case of just before they actually make contact, it did look like there may have been a slight bit of netcode involved, and you wonder, do these two still hit without the netcode? Tough to say, but either way, once that netcode occurs, hooks the 23 down the racetrack. He gets into the 45. Sean Corbett's going to get turned dead right hard into that outside safer barrier. Destroys his car along with the 23 of Nash Brambilla. And then at this point, it's just everybody trying to find a way through it. So a lot of damaged cars, a lot of good race cars that we're going to have strong runs here tonight that we're looking to cash. And how many more here as we take a couple different looks at it? There's the TV3 shot. Man, big hit for Corbett. Brian Hennings had nowhere to go. The 3 car, man, what a job he did to sneak through there, and actually upside down went the 45 of Sean Corbett. We didn't see that on the initial angle. That's a huge wreck for Corbett. And that car never did flip back over, so that's why his day did come to an end regardless of if he would have been able to get back or not. Watch this ride that the 45 takes here. After hitting the outside wall, that car is going to slowly slide back down the racetrack, and when it does, gets clipped, wedges off the wall, and up and over for the 45. Big, big wreck here with just a handful plus a couple more laps complete tonight. And This is certainly going to change the pace of things now with a lot of drivers that didn't expect to maybe have damage, maybe not race any damage this early, are going to have to either try to make a backup plan or head home for the night. But that's just kind of the nature of the beast. You expect it here. Again, that wasn't really anything anybody did wrong, as you saw the 35 slide in at the end there. Pretty big hit as well, but it wasn't so much anything anybody did wrong, just kind of two drivers maybe going for the same piece of real estate, and it honestly looked like they both initially caught it. The problem was, by the time they did, the contact kind of already ensued, whether it was a little bit of netcode or not. Didn't matter, because once they got hooked together, the rest was history. So as we go back up front, 8 of 60 laps complete, and it is Vicente Guerrero, the Nightmare Esports driver, currently leading the way. Devin Ray to his outside in second, and then you've got Matthew Baker and John Ellis Jr. back in row 2, and then Ian Martin and Matt Lee rounding out row number 3. Lights are off on the pace car. That means 1 lap to go before we'll get back to green flag action. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, again, we certainly appreciate you being here. Hope that you are having a good Thursday evening. Good to see Baker's mom in here, along with Pat's fan. Hope you guys are doing well. And by the way, we talked about that fuel window at the start, but things do shift a little bit now with this early caution. Going to go back green here with 9 laps complete. Let's say you round that up based off, drivers being able to save a little bit. And so then maybe they can make it to, I don't know, say about lap 30 and then lap 50 from there. So I would say it's still a 2-stop, but now it's maybe one of those pit stops you can try to play a little strategy into the mix, whether that be take a little less fuel on the first one or take a little less fuel on the second one. Now, of course, if we get another caution anytime after lap 20, that eliminates one of those pit stops. But we'll go from there if we get to that point. So if you're Vicente Guerrero, maybe he doesn't have a lot of teammates up here, but he is not shy to leading at these super speedways, one of the best in the business at it. And he is one of the many Chevys that currently find themselves at the front. But he's looking to see if that 6 of Cody Nagels and that 04 of Matt Lee can get a little bit closer. Maybe make Nightmare Esports 1, 2, 3 and see if these guys can start to take control of this race. They'd certainly like to. But Devin Ray for the Jack Shack, he's looked really good here tonight as well. He's up 3 positions from where he started this race at. And then Matthew Baker, he's always going to be one of the favorites, and so far here tonight, he's got himself a good run going, and he is also one of our drivers that is carrying an onboard cam. So we get ready to go back green. Pace car going to make the left turn. Back into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag is back in the air at Daytona. Good restart for Vicente Guerrero. He gets rolling a little bit better than that 2 of Devin Ray, but Matthew Baker does not have any help coming behind. He is the only support that Vicente Guerrero has right now, as it's a drag race further back between the 04 and the 98, trying to see who's going to get to the inside first. Ooh, and looks like Matt Lee chooses to go to the bottom. I think he's going to hope he can maybe get a little bit more of this lane clear and then think about jumping up again as they go by one of the lappers. That's Nash Brambilla. You see he's still got a lot of damage on that race car. But now they're going to drag race down the super stretch. Vicente Guerrero trying to fend off the push on the outside from Devin Ray and John Ellis Jr., and he'll be able to do it into turn 3 as they climb the banking. They stay side by side. And now if you're Devin Ray, what do? Do you try to change things up? Are you comfortable with where you're at? And honestly, I guess I should say not so much if you're Devin Ray, but if you're John Ellis Jr., do you start to settle in, try to conserve temps, or do you see if you can maybe push this 2-car clear and have a chance to cool off the nose and maybe have some clean air for yourself here for the first time tonight? And with that first wreck collecting as many cars as it did, you wonder, will that change the pace, the aggression level of this field? Do guys start to pick it up a little bit more, try to get to the front, or do they maybe slow it down and start to try to calm things down a little bit? By the way, Mark Vondell currently the last car being scored on the lead lap. Steve Sizemore, Brian Hennings, both a lap down, as is Zach Roethlisberger. And you can see the 35, who had that hard impact at the end of the last wreck, is getting lapped by the pack now as they're working to turn 3. Is sliding up. That's a really, really abrupt transition from the flat onto the banking. And man, that 35 almost got himself into trouble right there. But it looks like McClendon's going to go by in the middle, 3 wide. And they're going to all get by. Jonathan Herbert was up top. They all get by unscathed. And by the way, I know that, we're looking further back right now, but even Jonathan Herbert, who currently sits in 24th, this guy's going to have a good shot. Is a bit of a stack up there. You see a couple of them jump below the apron down the short chute, but you know that Herbert's going to have a good shot. Remember how good he was in Tuesday Night Thunder this week. Unfortunately, things just didn't quite work out. Got caught up in a wreck earlier than he would have liked, and man, that 87, ever since he got signed with Hyper Motorsports, has kind of flipped the switch. Went from good to great, and now it's just a matter of what can he do here tonight. As, man, we have still got cars scattering all over the place. I think this is stack-ups that are stemming further up front, and yeah, they certainly are. That was a big moment. We got to go back and look at this here. I'm not sure what just happened going into turn 3, but I can tell you that was almost our second caution of the night. for the majority of the field here is watch this. Going to go back to the front of the field right around Matthew Baker and watch, see what happens here. Oh, Devin Ray gets turned down into the lead. That 2-car. Oh, man, what a save. He did get into the outside wall, kept it out of everybody else. And, man, that's a tough break for Devin, as that did not draw a caution, and he's got enough damage that is significantly going to affect that car until he can get it fixed. Here's another look at it. Watch the 2 here. It's just going to be a little bit of an offset push. You can do 3-car pushing here down the straightaways, but you got to be perfectly square, and Ellis may not have even necessarily had him that offset. It's just sometimes the way these cars, ever since the update, just a little bit, doesn't take much, can get these cars turned around. And for Devin Ray here, might have been a brief checkup, and then maybe he got hit. Let's see. Look at this one more time here from the chopper view. Right there. Yeah, Ellis just gets him offset. Hits him in the left rear. You see John Ellis Jr. trying to get out of the throttle. He doesn't want to hit him offset, but once he does, now it's the Mad Scatter to miss it. Cody Nagels, I don't know how he did not hit Devin Ray. That was absolutely incredible stuff from the driver of the 6 for Nightmare Esports. And then everybody else either takes the grass or the inside line to get around. And again, no further incident from there. So there's Devin Ray currently sitting back in 30th at the end of this lead group and fading quickly. Meanwhile, up front, this pack has started to break away as they remain 2x2 into turn 3. Vicente Guerrero on the inside, John Ellis Jr. on the outside. Then you've got Matthew Baker, Cody Nagels sitting in row number 2. Matt Lee, Jeff Merck in row number 3. And we talked about all the gaps that got created in this lead pack breaking away. Well, if you look at it, this lead pack as it stands right now is currently kind of at the end of it, if you will, is Brandon Matz in the 81. By the way, he's up 15 positions from where he started this race at. But the reason I bring up where he currently stands at the end of this lead pack is because the second group, they're not that far behind, about 3.2 seconds. So if they can get their act together here pretty quickly, they could still catch up, and they've got some good leaders up here. Mike Davenport, Landon Velicky, and John Ward. All 3 of those drivers know how to push, even though they're not on the same team. Ryan Bates there as well, Dylan Jones. I mean, this is a lot of strong drivers that if they can get organized quick enough here, I think they can definitely catch up to that lead pack. But you got to be careful, because if this thing goes green for a while, we start to get those pit stops, things get broken up even more, and that's where a gap that's maybe... Oh, and hold on there just a minute. Caught my attention was that 23 of Nash Brambilla's. That car was really slow. He was trying to roll to the pits, but I'm not sure if he blew the motor or what, but looks like he is going to retire that race car here for the night. So Nash Brambilla, after that first wreck, had a lot of damage, and now looks like he has officially decided to call it, at least for the moment. John Ellis Jr. continues to lead the way as they work their way off at turn 2, but look at this. Here comes Cody Nagels. He's got a pretty big run. He'll draw even with his teammate. Now he'll draw even with the 21 as they work their way towards turn number 3. Not enough to get clear, but Merck being up top, that's a really, really good duo. Kyler Wynn, the Podium 500 winner from 2024. How about Malik Ray just behind him? You're getting a lot of the Super Speedway favorites now together in that top lane, and I think that means they are going to get rolling. Question is, how much is this track temp playing a part here tonight? Usually that cooler track temp makes it tougher to really get this outside line going, but we've already seen signs that it can work. Question is, how well can it work when you've got enough guys up there to make something happen? By the way, it's not all just big names in this group. Some of the drivers that maybe we don't see as often doing a great job here tonight so far. You got to look at Steven Scott Jr. First and foremost, he's got a great run going so far here tonight. He's up 9 positions from where he started this race at. And boy, if you didn't catch it, make sure you rewind the broadcast and take a look at that first wreck where he sneaked through by, I'm talking inches. It was a phenomenal job. In fact, he picked up just a little bit of damage there on the left side door from that first wreck, but nothing too bad, and he is still out here running strong right now. Again, currently sits in that 8th position. Then you go back a few more spots. Noah Rainwater currently sits in the 12th spot. He's up 17 positions from where he started this race at, and it looks like right now the 05, is blinking around a little bit. See if he can get that sorted out. And then Brandon Matz, the driver of the 81, who currently rolls on the inside in 12th. That's another driver who's kind of burst onto the scene as of recent and looks better and better each time we see him. What can the 81 do here tonight? We are going to find out. 17 of 60 laps now complete. By the way, the gap back to that second group, which was being led by Mike Davenport, it has not closed up yet. 4 seconds. Last time we checked, it was about 3.6. And it's interesting because, I mean, they've got the right idea. They've gotten lined up. They're pushing just about as good as they can, but let's pull up the dashboard speed, and I want you to focus on the bottom right of the screen here. Watch the difference in speed between these different groups. So Mike Davenport, as he crosses, actually wait till they get onto the backstretch. It should be a little bit of a better comparison. And we'll go from front to back first. So if we go up to Vicente Guerrero, He's running 190 in the turn with the push. As you see him work his way back up to the top of the racetrack, he'll take control of this top lane yet again, but watch as they work on the super stretch here. Watch the top speed for this inside and outside line. If we go down to Matthew Baker, he's already at 190 about halfway down the backstretch, and then by the time they get into turn number 3, he's hitting about 191. You compare that to Mike Davenport back here, he's hitting about the same thing. So you would think that this gap should be closing up, but for one reason or another, it is just not doing that right now. This front pack continues to put down very, very fast laps, and they continue to pull away from that second group. 19 of 60 laps now complete. We're almost a third of the way through as they're going to go by one of the lappers. That's Mark Vondell in the 59 from McCullough Motorsports. Another one of the cars in that first wreck, and that has really dictated the pace here early. I mean, we dropped a lot of good drivers out of this race. It's just a handful of laps complete. In fact, you look at the scoring tower on the left, you're going to notice once it gets back to the 30s, we started this race with 41 drivers. We currently only have 33 running on the lead lap, 34th on back. All drivers, sustained damage from that first wreck. And are now trying to play catch-up and hoping for a couple breaks, either in the form of some cautions or a couple more big wrecks. But look at this, 3 wide between a couple of the best in the business. Coke Series winner Malik Ray stuck on the outside. Kyler Wynn, the Podium 500 winner, in the middle. Looks like Merck chose to go up top. Now Kyler is going to squeeze in behind his teammate. And we'll see how well this lane gets working now. I know Malik likes to work with Jeff, and then Kyler's a teammate to that 7 machine. 3 wide, John Ellis Jr. decided to jump up as well. That allowed Malik and Kyler to jump back down. And man, this outside is falling apart. Not for long, though. Lee's going to look back to the middle lane. Baker will stay low as one of them's going to jump off. That's Dalton Martin. Oh, trying to find a spot back in line. Is the 3 car going to give it to him? Yes, he will. But that checkup allows Lee, Vicente, and Cody all to get clear. Malik's trying to pull clear as well, but it's not going to happen. And now Lee's going to get caught in the middle through 3 and 4. The 04's got to find some help here, but he's not going to get any. He is in the back, he's getting ready to go to the back here, but Vicente's going to jump up. He'll give some assist to his Nightmare Esports teammate. Now Merck's going to jump to the bottom. Watch for Nagels to try to jump up to the middle here if he gets clear. Vicente, nothing doing yet. There goes that green and black 6 machine all the way to the middle lane as they work through the banking again in turn 1 and 2. The top lane has still not been able to generate a ton of momentum as of yet. Meanwhile, further back, looked like we may have had some trouble there briefly. Thought I saw some issues with James Waring, but I guess not. So it looks like everybody is still good to go. So we turn our attention right back to the front. And by the way, you'd think all this racing would, again, pull that second pack up, but it just has not done so yet. We look at that gap, it is almost back to 5 seconds now. So whatever they're trying is not working out, and they've been switching pushers. Oh, hold on to it, Cody. Oh, man, him and Malik started dooring each other there off of turn 4. That was a really, really close call for Cody Nagels. John Ellis Jr. still stuck in the middle, pushing Jeff Merck. Malik Ray's going to draw back even down the short chute. Matthew Baker, Matt Lee on the bottom. They're still waiting for some more help, but they don't have it yet. J.R. Miller's trying to get there, but he needs a little bit more arrow push, if you will, from out back. And you can see right now that Dalton Martin and a couple others, Steven Scott Jr., Brandon Matz, they said, no thank you. We don't have a fast spray. You guys go up there and keep going after it. We're going to stay back here and try to keep our cars clean till the end of this thing. And it is the top 6 payout tonight. We'll talk more about what those payouts look like as we get closer to the end. But 22 of 60, we are now officially a third of the way through this race, actually a bit over. And just as we exit turn 4, things are going to start to finally calm back down. So we're expecting that first round of pit stops here in about 8 laps time. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Daytona.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created. Drink Company.
The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run! Ladies and gentlemen, the
Rookie is prime!
This season, we are hydrated. The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by three.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Host for tonight's action here for the Money Racing scene. MMS Money Racing with Thursday Night Takeover this week. I know you're used to seeing PGR hosting the Intimidator Super Speedway Series, but they took the week off, so still got the same drivers and the same great racing so far, so we certainly appreciate everybody that is tuning in. Again, you are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Hope everybody's having a good Thursday night. 26 of 60 laps complete, and that means that we are continuing to get closer and closer to that first round of green flag pit stops. Again, from what we expect, drivers at the most here, I would think they could make it maybe 2 to 3 more laps, and then they're going to have to pit. Now, if you were saving a little bit of fuel, you could probably definitely make it to lap 30, maybe even make it to 31. So we'll see how everybody decides to play it out. But up front, Jeff Merck for NBG Motorsports leads the way over his teammate Matthew Baker, who currently sits in second. Just a couple of stragglers still on the outside. That is Vicente Guerrero and Malik Ray, and they are trying to find a spot in line. You can see this long single-file train continues to get longer and longer, and that is usually an indication to expect pit stops. Will we see anybody peel off this time off of turn 4? Doesn't look like it. They all stay to the right of that double yellow line. They'll click off yet another lap as we now approach the halfway point in just a couple of laps. And if you're Malik here, kind of in a tough spot. If you're Vicente, you're hoping the 7 can push you clear, but if you're the 7 itself, not really much you can do here. So Malik's going to kind of bail on the 14 here, see if he can find a spot in line. Looks like Lee's going to help him out. That's one. They got to let the second one down here. Vicente Guerrero, and Malik's going to leave him a bit of a gap. Oh, man, I don't know if Lee didn't appreciate that or what, but he gave a huge shot to the back of Malik Ray right there off of 2, and that prevented Vicente Guerrero from getting down. And I'm not sure what the point was because Lee ended up letting him down just a spot after. So everybody finally gets down, all single file, and I would expect that they're either going to come in this lap, next lap, or the lap after. And we'll see if they all come down as one. Here we go. Merck's going to peel off. Baker follows. A couple more are going to come as well. Can they all get down clean? That's the big question. Everybody hard on the brakes, down to 60 miles an hour from almost 200, and they all do so successfully. Merck leads him in, and he'll be the first to make it to his pit stall. John Ellis Jr., Matthew Baker following close behind. Vicente Guerrero came in that time as well. It looks like so did Dalton Martin and maybe one other. As we look at the pit lane cam here, we'll see how everybody works their way off. Noah Rainwater, just fuel, and this one might be 2 tires as well. Certainly can't afford to take 4, but fuel and 2 tires seems to be the general idea right here. Brandon Matz comes off a little bit late. He's going to have to hustle here if he wants to stick with the leaders. And then there was that second group. They had some drivers pitting as well. All right, here we go. Working off a turn 4. We'll see who decides to come in this time. Malik Ray, he peels down. Oh, Cody hard on the brakes. He's wiggling around. Can he get it down to speed? Yes, he does. They all do. And Malik's going to quickly pull into his box. He makes the abrupt left turn. Nagels still continues on, and Ian Martin, he actually stayed out. He was in that lead group. That's a really interesting call by the 98. I'm not sure really what the advantage would be, if you will, but we'll see how it pans out. He's not going to have a draft for this lap, so he's going to lose a lot of time. And now we start to wonder, how are things going to pan out with the group that already pit, which you see working their way off of turn 4 now, versus this group that is currently leaving the pits, and looks like leading them out is going to be the 7 of Malik Ray, followed by the 82 of Kyler Wynn, and then the 6 of Cody Nagels. See, John Ward and a couple others went in from that second pack as well. So watch for that second group here. In fact, we'll go to the rear chase cam, and you'll notice just how quickly, or how much steam, I guess I should say, that second group's going to have once they do eventually get there. And, well, I said that, but they're nowhere to be found. So this was a phenomenal pit stop from the second group that went in. Malik Ray, Kyler Wynn, and Nagels. I mean, they beat these guys lights out. Now, they still might catch up, but, man, what a pit stop from Malik Ray, Kyler Wynn, Cody Nagels. Looks like J.R. Miller had a phenomenal pit stop, as well as Matt Lee. Man, what a shakeup right here as you see Matthew Baker. He's got a head of steam, getting pushed by his teammate Jeff Merck. I think they're going to get there. And, man, lucky for that group just behind, being led by Vicente Guerrero. They are holding on. They got a little bit of a pull from a couple of the lappers right there that they're going by. The 35, and I think that might be... Can't tell if that was Corbett or another car, but either way, no, that's not Corbett, excuse me. That's going to be the 5 machine of, James Waring. And now 3 wide. Look at this up front. We've got a melee as everybody's trying to figure out who wants to lead here. 3 wide off at turn number 2. Nagels and Baker with a huge run. Malik's trying to get a side draft on that top lane. Is it enough? Nagels is getting a pull off one of the lappers. He jumps down. Oh, Baker's got to do the same. He gets into Malik. Oh, my goodness. That was a close call as they all had to squeeze through. As they, now they're stuck together. Kyler and Lee, 3 wide. This isn't going to work. They got to get off of each other. And they finally do. Man, that's 2 really close calls as Kyler is still trying to get control of that race car. Oh, my goodness. Try to take a breath after that one. 32 of 60 complete. And we still have another pit stop to go. Whew. Man, a lot of action here. And they're still 3 wide further back. This is a couple of lappers mixed in with some of the leaders here further back. That's John Ellis Jr. And then see the 35 of Zach Roethlisberger, who got some damage in that earlier wreck. He's got it all fixed, and that's why he's running with this lead group, even though he's not for position. And they're all going to work by the 8 of Chase Mastretta, who's going to stay on the apron. Very respectful move right there from the 8 to stay out of the leader's way. And through that pit stop, if we dropped off anybody, I can tell you one thing, we certainly didn't drop off many. Dalton Martin was able to stick with the leader, so it's still an 11-car deep lead pack. And the second pack right now is being led by John Ward, and give him some credit here because they didn't lose that much time since we last checked in. They're only back to about 5.5 seconds behind the back bumper of Dalton Martin, and remember, they have to get within about 1.5 seconds in order to catch that draft and be able to pull up to the leaders. So they still got a lot of work to do, but did a good job of not losing too much. All things considered, though, I think they're still going to need a caution at some point, which right now certainly looks like is a possibility, especially after that next green flag pit stop when you know things are going to get amped up that much more. By the way, window for this final green flag stop opens at lap 40, but these drivers can make it on fuel all the way till about lap 50, so we'll have to see exactly what happens, but right now they're back to 2x2. Malik Ray up front on the inside, Cody Nagels leading the outside, J.R. Miller, Kyler Wynn, row 2, Matt Lee, Jeff Merck in row 3, and then Vicente Guerrero and Matthew Baker back in row number 4. Well, we already had a chance to talk about all the different strategies, and we've seen a couple of them in play here tonight. So let's take a chance to talk about the payouts, and these are going to be as advertised because we did get a sold-out field here tonight. First place going to be taking home $250. Second will take home $200, $150 to third, $120 to fourth, $120 to fifth, and then $100 to sixth. And the entry fee was $25. So, I mean, hey, if you cash out at all, you're making at least 4 times your money, and potentially a whole lot more than that if you can start to work your way closer and closer to the front. And when you've only got about a 12-car lead pack, it certainly makes fighting for those payouts a lot easier. In fact, you do the math right now, about 50% of the drivers in this lead pack are going to be in the payout positions. So we'll see how things work out here towards the end of the race, but we're closing in on 25 laps to go. Usually that's the point where drivers start to worry themselves a little bit more about getting in the right track position, getting set up for that final pit stop so that when you come out, you can go as aggressive as you want the rest of the way. But right now, everybody, again, minding their P's and Q's, not for long. Here we go, NBG going to stir it up again. Matthew Baker, Jeff Merck looking 3 wide down the super stretch. Merck's got a really good run, but it's only 2 cars. 2 cars up top and 2 in the middle. Bottom's going to surge here unless the middle or top could get some more help. And boy, Kyler still looks like he is struggling just a little bit with the handling of that car as things continue to get tighter and tighter, but they're holding even on the outside as the middle has now got, I mean, cavalry's arrived. The 35, Zach Roethlisberger's there, and John Ellis Jr. says, I'm going to make this even more interesting. He's now going to jump to the top, and that'll make it 3 versus 3 versus 3 on the bottom, top, and middle as they climb the banking into 1. By the way, they are going to be coming up on some more lappers sooner or later. Malik's now going to jump to the middle. This should start to stir the pot again now that everybody's going to have a chance to cool temps. By the way, up top, Matthew Baker, he is carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But you can see all the pushing he's doing for his teammate right now, Jeff Merck, trying to see if he can get that 60 clear. But again, he just needs a little bit more help. Usually you got to have at least 2 to maintain, 3 to go forward. And then once you get 4, that's when you can really start to make some time up. So for Matthew Baker, he's going to stay committed here a bit longer to see if something can work out. And there's the 2 driver cams that we have here tonight. Baker on the right, that was Jared Haynes on the left. Well, you can see just a little bit of wheel inputs that he's got to put in. Tries to be very, very precise here. Can't hit a guy on the left rear, and if you're going to push in the corners, you have got to be absolutely perfect. And I mean, for what it's worth, usually we won't actually see guys do too much pushing in the corner unless they're teammates and they've got that chemistry worked out, which of course Jeff Merck and Matthew Baker do. So good on that setup. As, by the way, our other driver cam here tonight is one of the guys in that second group, and that is Jared Haynes. Right now he's got a pretty good run going, but still probably going to need a caution unless this second group can find a way to catch those leaders. They're still trying, but that gap, unfortunately, it's not closing. John Ward, who leads this pack, it was about 5.5 seconds last we checked. Now it's up to 6. I do think that they have a couple of cars in between that maybe helps that out a little bit, but I'm not seeing much, unfortunately, as they're going to go by the 5 right there of James Waring. And up front, how about this for a change of hands in the lead? JR Miller for PGR eSports. He may not have any teammates up here right now, but that's not going to stop him from going to the front. Remember, he had a win last season in Tuesday Night Thunder, which is strictly these Xfinity cars, so he knows how to get the job done in this series. But boy, how much sweeter would it be if he could get himself another win in PGR, get the job done here tonight. They'll be hitting 22 laps to go at this 2.5-mile super speedway. When they cross the line this time, JR Miller still leads the bottom, Malik in the middle, and Jeff Merck up top. And for Jeff Merck, I don't know how much longer he's going to get a push. I got to think Baker is boiling under the hood of his Chevy Camaro. He's been pushing this 60 for a while, and eventually he is going to have to run out of temps. By the way, again, if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. Willie B says peace and love and bacon. Baker's mom says thanks, Austin, for broadcasting. Do a really great job. Certainly appreciate it. And Corbett says, got the grill fired up here in the pits. The ribs and steak will be done long before my repair. Well, Corbett, we hate to see you out, but if there's one thing that you can look forward to now that you're out of it is go get some good eating. So we appreciate you letting us know and checking in, Sean, and we'll see you out here again next week. The leaders are coming up on a few lap cars here. A 3-car trio all lined up on the bottom, and they're too wide, so shouldn't be an issue getting around them, but you wonder if anybody tries to set a pick here or if anybody tries to maybe use these lappers to their advantage. Doesn't look like it is. Ooh, that was a little bit of a late move there from Tucker McClendon to dive down on the apron, but they did stay well out of the way. So again, good on these guys for making sure that they allow the leaders to keep it nice and clean. As we're going to be approaching 20 laps to go here shortly, and when we get to that point, oh man, Jared Miller, he's going to get turned into the 6. Hold on to it. The 78's trying to drive out of it. JR Miller, did he save that race car? Yes, he did. What a save from JR Miller as he got hooked coming off at 2. But just as they worked onto the super stretch, the 78 was able to catch it, and that is the save of the night. Oh my goodness. Watch this. From TV1, Malik's trying to get him lined up to get pushing again, but again, we talked about pushing in the corners and how you've got to be absolutely perfect when you do it, and in this case, they're not perfectly lined up, and there's the slight hook, and then Malik's trying to back off of him, but the 78's scrubbing off speed as he tries to catch it. That's why there was kind of that secondary contact, but man, what a job by everybody to get out of the way, and then, of course, by JR Miller to save that race car. He's had a couple great saves this week. He had one in Tuesday Night Thunder, and now he tacks on another one here tonight in Thursday Night Takeover. Watch this. So Lee comes up. That's what causes that initial checkup, which is what led to the contact to a degree with, of course, Malik getting that big run, and then there was the tremendous save after the fact. But as we go back up front now, looks like certainly didn't make these guys skip a beat as they are back to 3x3 up front. Malik Ray leading the top. Matt Lee in the middle looking for some help right now. And then Cody Nagel's lined up with one of his Nightmare Esports teammates, Vicente Guerrero, on the bottom. In fact, they have the top 3 swept right now, or at least they have the 2 on the bottom and then 1 in the middle, making those top 3 spots really, really good for Nightmare Esports drivers right now. And now we are officially under 20 laps to go. Joe Herta, along with a couple of other lappers, have now tagged on to this lead group. We'll see if they have any say, and the way this race ends, or potentially this final green flag pit stop. By the way, the window is open now, but we don't see anybody going in just yet, and they can go as far as 10 to go on fuel. Again, looking at that second group, seeing if they've caught up at all. Guess what? They have. It was mainly due to that checkup, but they got it back down from 6 seconds to 5 seconds. Unfortunately, it's starting to fade a little bit again, and I think them getting racy back here is kind of a product of them realizing they may not catch unless they either try something different, or maybe they just decided it's time to go racing and they don't feel like they're going to catch up. See what happens, but you can see Dylan Jones, Joshua McCullough, they continue to be the lead pushers as Ward's controlling the lanes. David Sheets, Mike Davenport, and then Trevor Oswanoff at the back of this group for the Jack Shack, along with a couple others. And so we'll see if they're able to make any time on this front pack. And before we get to that final pit stop, we're going to take another quick break. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing, and we'll be right back at Daytona.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was really awesome.
Have created
our own drink company.
the fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run! Ladies and gentlemen,
The monkey has arrived!
this season we are hydrated. The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by three.
Almost found trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, where we have had a big turn of events just as we were coming back from break. Caution is out, and all of a sudden, that is going to flip things on its lid here with just 14 laps to go. Not exactly sure what initially caused the caution itself. However, you can see the 21 here of Tristan Bruce pretty torn up. And oh my goodness, what in the world? Under caution, the 87. I don't know what that was, but Jonathan Herbert just caused a whole bunch more damage for a... What in the world was that? Oh, you can see the 21. He's not happy now. He's trying to show his displeasure, and he's not going to let the 87 by. He's going to just park it right there, and he's going to tow. I don't think he appreciated that very much, and you can see Baker here. He's enjoying it. He's smiling. He knows what's going on in the back, but I don't know what that was. Let's go back and look at what caused the yellow, I guess, first of all, and then maybe see if there was any correlation there. Doesn't look like it, as the initial incident here is going to involve Landon Velicki and Tristan Bruce. Watch this from the chopper view first. You see the 21, he's on the outside. He sees a gap here on the inside. He takes it. He dives down. No issues there. And then there's a checkup, and Honestly, it looks like Veliky just kind of runs into the back of him. And you can see Landon, the fire out of the pipes, that always indicates the drivers are out of the throttle. And he certainly was out of the throttle, but just a little bit too late, and gets the 21 offset. Starts to turn him around. Down below the apron he goes, and then long slide through the grass. That didn't bring out the caution. That right there is what brought out the caution. That's big damage for Jared Haynes, one of our onboard drivers, and that's a tough break for Jared, who was running in that second pack. He was hoping for a caution, but I can tell you he certainly wasn't hoping to be in the caution, as some of the view of that hit for the number 7 here. Watch this from the zoomed-in view. He's riding up on it, and 21 just not scrubbing off enough speed, and that's a big hit for Jared Haynes. You see it destroys that left front suspension, rips the hood off of that race car. So he's not going to have any more shot at a win here tonight. So he'll have to most likely take it to the pits for repairs, although the hood did go back on, so maybe not quite as bad as it initially looked. And then this second incident is certainly one of the more interesting things I've seen in a while. Not sure exactly how this happened. So you see Tristan Bruce. This is after the wreck, by the way. He's trying to get back up to speed. He's going to merge back onto the racetrack. No issues here, but then watch for the onrushing Jonathan Herbert. 21 is a little bit slow here. He's at the top of the racetrack. Here comes Herbert. Fire out of the pipes. He's trying to check up. And does the 21 just run down, or does the 87 run up into him here? Herbert runs down, hits the tri-oval apron. Ooh, but then Allen actually checked up, and it kind of just left nowhere for the 87 to go. So he tried to split the gap, but in the process, he hits the 21. And man, that car almost got upside down, as Christopher Carter also had absolutely nowhere to go. And let's see if we can opt to an onboard here with Jonathan Herbert and see exactly what happened here. I think he thought that Allen was just going to continue going at full speed, and so then all of a sudden when he checked up, didn't necessarily know what to do, if you will, and well, that's a little bit far. Let's back that up a little bit more here. And again, watch the 87. Once that 29 machine slows up, he's just not going to have anywhere to go. And man, that's a tough break. I know Jonathan did not mean to do that. And it looks like he probably got a black flag there for the unsafe pit exit. And then look at this. The 21 says, I don't certainly appreciate that. He's going to put on the brakes here. And Herbert says, listen, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. And so he's going to park his car right there. Show some displeasure. Hold that 87 up as long as he can before he pays the tow bill. And then back to the pits he'll go for repairs. And for Herbert, don't think he got a lot of damage, but certainly did not make a friend in that one. So we take one more look at that second part of the incident, which had more damage than the caution itself. And the caution came out right here. So Herbert was down the backstretch when the caution itself actually occurred. And as he rockets through 3 and 4, trying to catch the pace car. And then we go to the pit lane cam for this. Show you that full impact that the 29 machine takes right here. It's gonna look low. And then right as he goes to look low, he's gonna try to get back high and just can't quite split the needle. There's the big hit. The 21. All right, as we go back live up front, 12 laps to go. Lights are off on the pace car. That means we're getting ready to go back green. John Ellis Jr. leads on the inside. You've got Malik Ray up top, Jeff Merck, Matthew Baker in row 2, Cody Nagels and Matt Lee in row number 3. And now all bets are off. The field has been put back together. Fuel is no longer a concern. Everybody's good to go, not only for regulation, but for any overtimes we should need as well. And so this is going to be an all-out race to the finish. Question of who can get to the checkered flag first. Dalton Martin in 318, lined up with his teammate Ian Martin. We'll see what those two can do. And then for Nightmare Esports, they've got 3 drivers inside the top 6 right now. NBG's got 2 inside the top 5. Malik Ray, can he find his way to victory lane yet again here tonight? We're getting ready to find out. Here we go. Pace car is going to make the left turn for potentially the final time here tonight. Field back in the hands of John Ellis Jr., Malik Ray. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air at Daytona.
Green flag, green flag.
And it's a good restart for the 21 of John Ellis Jr. He's going to pull clear of the 7. Will he decide to make the move up, though, before they get to turn 1? Doesn't look like he will. Stays down for now. The 60 of Jeff Merck. He's starting to get a run. Can he push himself and the 21 clear and jump up? No, he won't. Malik Ray now starting to draw back even. Here comes the push from Matthew Baker. John Ellis Jr. is going to jump up a lane. Now they're 2 by 2 as they race down the super stretch. 3 wide further back, but none of those lanes get anywhere near organized enough to make a run to the front. John Ellis Jr., not quite enough of a push to get clear, so now Merck will get even with the 21 through turn 3. Nagels moves up to second on the inside, and Kyler Wynn nowhere to go, but not surprised to see him up to third on the inside either. And here we go, third lane. Guess who? Jonathan Herbert, or excuse me, that's Veliky, trying to make something happen with Dylan Jones. And now they're going to get blocked by the 98 of Ian Martin. Man, that was an aggressive move from the 98. Dalton Martin's going to jump up as well. And we'll see. Oh, now Veliky gets in the wall. Jones as well. They're struggling. Not only out back, but up front. 4 wide briefly. Through 3. Ward's out of shape. He's trying to save it. Now they're going to wreck out back. John Ward gets collected as Davenport's going to go for a slide. The 92 is able to hold on to it. And it might have been Noah Rainwater, the other driver involved. So third caution of the night with 10 to go. And now we're going to have a restart with probably 6 or 7 laps to go. All right, well, let's go back here and take a look at what started this one. You saw John Ward, captain for Hyper Motorsports. That was the first driver that got out of shape here. And I'm not sure what initially caused that, but looked like he saved it, and then kind of a secondary incident is what ultimately collected this 92. So let's go see how this starts. Yeah, that's the 05 and Noah Rainwater right there. There's a checkup on the bottom. Ward just can't quite check up in time. He gets into the back of the 05, and then you see the save, or I guess I should say almost save from the 92, and then the 55 of Davenport along with the 73 there of Ryan Baste. Those two got together, and when they spun down, they were the 2 cars that ended up collecting the 92 of John Ward. And so I guess they saw the incident here. Yeah, sure enough, and Baste checks up, and Davenport just not quite able to get on the brakes hard enough and turns that 73 down the track. Boy, these two were lucky. This was not a whole lot worse. A little bit of maybe bumps and bruises on a couple of those race cars, but that's about it. Nobody actually hit anything significant, and they both slid below the apron and kept it there, so they didn't have to worry about getting back up into the rest of the field. Get another look at this here. For John Ward's perspective here, is he had a couple different things go on. This was the nose cam, and you'll see the checkup. There's the near save, and then gets punted from out back. There's nowhere to go. Does a 360, and then gets that car back rolling, and he'll lose some track position, but he should be good to go again for this next restart. So back up front, Jeff Merck now being scored as your leader. John Ellis Jr. in second. Malik Ray third. Cody Nagels in fourth. Matthew Baker rounding out your top 5. And looks like it is indeed going to be, I believe, a 6 lap to go restart. Assume the lights on the pace car go off next time. So what we're going to go ahead and do is take another break. We'll go side by side, and we'll be back for the restart here at Daytona.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was really awesome.
Have created
Drink Company.
the fastest growing sports drink in history.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
The monkey has arrived!
This season, we are hydrated. The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3.
Almost full time trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Getting ready to wrap up Thursday night takeover for MMS Money Racing here tonight. Lights are off on the pace car. You know what that means. We're getting ready to go back to racing, and boy, it is going to be a short sprint to the finish. 6 laps to go. And who is going to take home the big money here tonight? Again, $250 to the winner. And up front, you got a lot of big names. Jeff Merck, John Ellis Jr., Cody Nagels, Malik Ray, Matthew Baker, Kyler Wynn, Matt Lee. But then you look at what would be considered some of the underdog wins here tonight. You look back to that 8th and 10th spot. Dalton Martin and Ian Martin, either one of those drivers, if they can find a way to victory lane here tonight, would be another underdog win. And I'm seeing a couple cars on the apron here, and I didn't think fuel was a concern, but who knows, maybe for a couple of these drivers it is, because that's Malik and Matthew Baker rolling on the apron, trying to get every ounce of fuel saved for those cars as they can here, just in case we start to head into a couple overtimes. I know it's a ways away, but remember, we've got to make it all the way to the white flag for this race to be official. If we get another restart, though, after this point, we might be getting close to either a 2-lap shootout or potentially our first overtime. Pace car makes the turn. Here we go. Back into the restart zone we go, and through the gears. Jeff Merck, green flag is back in the air. Good even restart. Oh, checking up really bad out back. Is everybody able to hold on to it? Yeah, looks like they do, but we had a couple that had to dodge to the apron. And that is going to cost a couple guys probably a chance at sticking with this lead pack right now. So that was a major checkup that I think stemmed from the middle portions of the pack, as you see a breakaway of about 10 to 12 cars up front. John Ellis Jr., Jeff Merck, they're going to drag race off of turn 2 onto the Daytona Superstretch. On the outside, John Ellis Jr. right now has a slight advantage, but Merck is getting pushed by Malik Ray. It's going to be still a dead heat as they get into turn 3. Nobody with the advantage just yet. And you can see what Malik's doing, and this is what everybody's going to have to start doing, and that's pushing that envelope a little bit more. Malik's starting to push this 60 in the corner, and that's what he's going to have to do at this point to get to 60 clear up if he wants to manage temps. Further back, couple guys looking 3 wide. That's Joshua McCullough and David Sheets. 2 of the McCullough Motorsports teammates trying to get that third lane sparked up. Watch for Ian Martin in the 98 and the 318 to go up. Ooh, didn't look like Ian was able to cover it in time, but Dalton sure enough was. He jumps to the top of the racetrack. Now 3 cars up there as the 318, though, will quickly jump back to the middle. Still 2 by 2, 5 laps to go. And now we're going to see Vicente Guerrero in the 14. He took a peek up top, but now jumps back to the outside. Couple cars further back. Brandon Match, Joe Herter that are trying to catch this lead group. Saw Trevor Osmanoff back there as well. But if you're going to get this third lane going, you've got to go now. And Joshua McCullough and David Sheets, they've got the right idea, but man, they're just going to need some more help. And if they can't get it here in the next couple laps, they're going to run out of time, because we're coming to 4 laps to go right here. And they are still 2 by 2 up front. Nobody giving away just yet. Merck and Ellis have been the 2 leaders now for every lap since we got the green flag again. And you got to think that Malik and Cody are starting to get hot, and just in time, because here comes that third lane. Kyler Wynn up top, the Canadian driver, trying to see if he can find victory lane here tonight. Dalton Martin, Joshua McCullough coming with a big push down the back. Look at the surge of momentum from the 82 as he draws even with the leaders as they head toward turns 3. Is he going to get clear? Not quite yet. The 82, does he have it? Yes, he does. Kyler Wynn will drop to the middle. What a push from Dalton Martin, and what a move from Kyler Wynn. He takes the lead coming to 3 laps to go. Still 3 by 3, but you can see that third lane is fading now. Will Ian Martin in the 98 take a shot and try to go up the racetrack? John Ellis Jr., the lead pusher, but right now Kyler is in control in the 82. And if you're Kyler, I think what you got to do right here is stay up as long as you can, because I think at this point when you drop down, you are probably not going back up unless you're throwing a block. Jeff Merck, though, has temporarily lost some help as Malik has to cool. Lines him up for another big push down the super stretch, but is it enough? Kyler Wynn trying to get clear in front of the nose of Jeff Merck. John Ellis Jr. pushing for all he's worth, but it's not quite enough, at least not yet. Kyler Wynn still getting pushed by John Ellis Jr., but it's just not enough. Jeff Merckx able to draw back even through 3 and 4, and now they're going to be coming to 2 laps to go off of turn 4. Still no third lane just yet. Cody Nagels, what can he do now? He's going to go to the third, back to the middle. He picks up his Nightmare Esports teammate of Vicente Guerrero, puts him as lead pusher. He'll be trying to see if he can get Kyler Wynn out front. Jeff Merckx finally going to get clear. That gives him a chance to jump up. Now Malik Ray will get the opportunity to cool. And this is the last lap for a caution. If they wreck now, we could go into overtime. If they can make it to the white, this race will be official. 3 wide now, and that third lane starting to get organized. They're checking up on the bottom. Further back, no issues though. Jeff Merckx still on the inside. Kyler Wynn in the middle. And here comes John Ellis Jr. up top. 3 by 3 off of turn 4. Can they make it to the start-finish line to make this race official? No, they don't. Caution is out. We're headed to overtime. Incident further back, 2-3. How many get involved in this one? Looks like Dylan Jones is in it. Carl Matz gets back rolling. He was slow, and then I think that might be the 87 of Jonathan Herbert. Yes, it is. And, oh man, he's got heavy suspension damage. Does he even have a... I'm looking to see here if he's even got a right side tire. I think he does, but it's certainly pretty beat up. Yeah, heavy suspension damage here for the 87. I'm not sure what he hit, but it has knocked the front toe out of that race car, and it's probably going to end his competitive chances here tonight. So let's see what happens here. They're 3 wide further back, or, well, actually they kind of go 3 wide. This is certainly an awkward looking move here. So watch as Dylan Jones, he gets a pretty good run. Yeah, they stack up big time on the bottom. And as the 73 of Ryan Bass gets into Jonathan Herbert, that shoots him up the racetrack. And then Jones with a lot of momentum. It's late in the race. He doesn't want to lift, so he tries to split the middle when the 87 washes up. And unfortunately, just barely clips the 87 in the rear, and that turns that 26 car down the racetrack. Actually, I said he got clipped. I don't know if there was a little bit of netcode or if it was just him trying to turn the wheel that got him down the racetrack. But when he did, shot that car back up. He gets into Jonathan Herbert right there, and now the wreck's on. Oh, man, it's going to be another big hit for Jared Haynes. Boy, it has been a tough night for the 7 as, man, that thing gets up on the safer barrier. He slides around. These 3 slide down the banking, and Jared Haynes is going to make another big hit right here. Jonathan Herbert, front end of that race car as the 87 had slid back up. And, man, close call for a couple of drivers at the end of that one. And it's just, I mean, everybody's trying to fight for a position, and when there's a stack up like that, I know Dylan did technically cause that one, but I can't put it on him too hard in this case. I think that it's just a scenario of he's got to try to take the gap to give himself any sort of a chance, and fortunately, it just doesn't really work out for anybody in this case. There's a big hit from Jared Haynes. Boy, it has been a rough night in these last 20 laps or so for the driver of the number 7 car. Watch this from the onboard shot. Big hit, and then there's the second impact between him and Jonathan Herbert. Give you one more look at this here from the turn 3 and 4 cam. And so, what ends up being your 4th caution here tonight is the one that sends us into overtime. That means that we're going to see a 2-lap shootout to decide your winner here tonight. Question is, who is it going to be? Jeff Merckx currently being scored as your leader. Malik Ray 2nd. Kyler Wynn back in 3rd. John Ellis Jr. in 4th. Cody Nagels 5th. Matthew Baker 6th. Dalton Martin in 7th. Vicente Guerrero 8th. Matt Lee 9th. And Joshua McCullough currently rounds out your top 10. All right, well, I think the lights on the pace car should be going off this next lap, so while we have a chance, let's see if we can find the driver, the number 60, bring him up, see how he's feeling right about now. All right, well, let's see. I think we got a copy. Hey, Jeff, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do. Austin, what's up?
Well, your teammate didn't want me to interview you, but we're going to do it anyway.
Nope.
Hey, we're coming to 2 laps to go, and we know sometimes bad luck likes to strike the end of these things, but you've been so good all night. How are you feeling about your chances here at the end?
I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to say anything that's going to make this curse even worse, so we'll just hold the wheel and see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've got a couple of other guys up here that are going to be trying to make moves. And, you know, from what we saw with, well, we almost made it to the light, but what we saw in general after that last restart, at this point in the race, do you still try to control these lanes, or does this kind of become a, if you can get to the bottom, stay there and try to play it as safe as you can?
Yeah, you just have to do whatever comes to you when you're doing it. That's just, you know, I don't want to give too much away just in case these guys are listening to the broadcast. Just have to do what we have to do to get the win.
All right, well, we'll let you go. Hey, Jeff, I know you guys didn't want to do it, but I certainly appreciate you talking to us. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, brother, thanks.
All right, there you go. Hey, I don't blame him. We've seen it time and time again. It seems like anytime I try to either talk to a driver or shout out them for doing a good job, they end up being the next driver that goes into the catch fence. So we'll see how things pan out here for Jeff. Certainly rooting for him, but man, oh man, it's going to be a crazy finish either way. And I know he said he didn't want to say much, but it's a tough choice as a driver. I mean, if you've got a teammate in one of the lanes, or I guess I should say if you got two teammates controlling a row, then you can kind of still afford to control lanes even with just a 2-lap shootout. But if you're Jeff Merck in this case, you get clear to the inside after about, I don't know, half a lap, maybe going into turn 3 off of this first lap. I almost think that you take it and just try to stay on the bottom the rest of the way through. We'll have to see what he decides to do as the lights are off on the pace car. So we are going back green this time as the field works their way through 3 and 4. You see Malik still on the apron, as are a couple of other drivers. Most notably looks like Cody Nagels. So still maybe a question of fuel here if we start to go into a couple more. Quick reminder of the rules: overtime. We got to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. If we don't, then we will rack them up and try it again. All right, here we go. Pace car pulls off. Overtime at Daytona. 2-lap shootout to decide it. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air. And it's a good restart for the 60 of Jeff Merck. Not so much for John Ellis Jr., though. And the bottom is much more lined up. Kyler Wynn's going to give a big push to the 7 of Malik Ray as they work their way down towards turn number 1. And now everybody's lining up. Don't have to save temps at this point. This is all about who can push harder. Right now, Jeff Merck starts to fade, but he's getting a side draft on Malik. They'll go back to side by side. Question is, who gets the advantage by the time they get to turn number 3? Still 2 by 2. A lot of good pushing up front. Will the third lane develop? Yes, it does. Vicente Guerrero's starting to look high. Now he's going to pick up his teammate Matt Lee. They are 3 wide into turn 3. Here comes the 14 of Vicente Guerrero. Can they make it all the way back to make this race official? John Ellis Jr. still pushing Jeff Merck for all he's worth. Malik on the bottom with Kyler Wynn. Third lane still there, but it's not got organized enough. Trevor trying to hold on to it. They're starting to wreck out back. Do they make it? Yes, they do. White flag. Oh, no, they don't. No, they don't. Caution is out. Oh, they came so close to making it, but just not quite. And so we're going to try it yet again. This will be our second overtime. You saw them start to wreck in the back, but thought they made it. Unfortunately, they did not know Rainwater's in it. Ryan Based. A couple of others. We're going to have to go back and actually look at it. It looked like it all started with the 78 of J.R. Miller here. Saw him and Trevor kind of getting into it, getting loose. Looked like it was Trevor Osronoth first, and then as he shot down, and that's Noah Rainwater, I believe, in the 05. Yes, it is. Starts to come down, and either a little bit of net code or contact either way sends the 89 up. He saves it, but then JR makes that evasive maneuver. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Brandon Matz, he might have got into the catch fence. That was a huge hit for the 81. That's definitely not the way that he expected his night to end, as that car is junk. But go back and watch this again. As JR corrected it, he saved his car, but unfortunately as the result, got up into the 81 here, and then watch this hit for the 81. Gets into the safer barrier, immediately puts that car up on its side, and then gets hit again. And then he slides across the start-finish line on his side before he finally gets back down on all fours. And then I think we had another car actually get upside down here somewhere. Couldn't tell exactly who it was just yet. But definitely some big hits in this one as everybody was trying to make it through. Oh my goodness, that was the 05 of Noah Rainwater who took that second big hit. The 5 piled in with nowhere to go as well. Go back and take a couple more looks at this. First view I want to get is from the onboard here of Noah Rainwater, as this is, I think, kind of initially what sparked the issue that led to the wreck. Watch this. I think he's trying to get to the outside, or he's trying to stay 3 wide here, but just creeps down a little too much. And good save initially, but unfortunately didn't quite end up that way. There's that first big hit. And then this is going to be the second big hit for the 5. The 73 comes back up, and It's going to certainly end his night. Go back and give you a couple more angles here. One from the spectator view. We'll go back live and see how everybody's looking up front. Collected, looks like about 3 to 5 cars that got race-ending damage, then a couple others probably going to make it back out, but still have some damages to repair as Dylan Jones went under the 05. All right, so as we go back live, again, this will be overtime attempt number 2. We've got 3 in total, but it is Cody Nagels being scored as your leader. Merck being scored as your leader. Cody Nagels in second, Malik Ray third, John Ellis Jr. in fourth, and Kyler Wynn rounding out your top 5. But we're going to go ahead and take another break as we prepare for overtime number 2. We'll be right back. Stick with us at Daytona.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was really awesome.
Have created
Drink Company.
the fastest growing sports drink in history.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
Monkey is prime!
This season, we are hydrated. The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by 3.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, the World Center of Wrecking, and as we get ready for overtime attempt number 2, pace car will pull off. We'll see if we can make this thing official this time around. Here we go. Field in the hands of Malik Ray and Jeff Merck. Green flag in the air. 2 laps to go at Daytona. A good restart from both cars on the front row this time, but a little bit of a, I don't want to say a rough start, but just a little bit of a lag there for John Ellis Jr. is going to help this outside line get a little bit more momentum into the turn. And man, if you're Jeff Merck, you've got to lay it on the door here of Malik Ray. You cannot let that 7 get clear with a chance to jump up. He's trying to get a side draft, and he will. Kyler Wynn gearing up for a big push down the super stretch. Still 2 by 2. Nobody's looking third yet. There they go. Nagels is going to be the first car that takes it. Baker now moves up a lane to try to support his teammate. Jeff Merck's going to try to hold even here into turn 3 as Nagels will now draw even with the leaders as well. Working through 3 and 4. That third lane's got 3. They might need at least 1 more to make something happen. Joshua McCullough still up there, though, for now. Side by side off of 4. Merck on the outside. Malik Ray on the inside. Are they going to do it this time? Yes, they will. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go at Daytona. All bets are off now. If you're Jeff Merck and Malik Ray, your bets are made. If you're Merck, you're trying to get clear of the bottom. And if you're Malik, you're hoping that the 21 can keep you there the rest of the way. Matt Lee still trying to support his teammate up top, but they don't have any more help, at least not yet. Oh, Merck's getting pushed really, really aggressive right now on the outside, and now Kyler Wynn's going to take it 3 wide. The 82 goes to the top of the racetrack as they race off towards turn 3 for the final time. John Ellis Jr. trying to see if he can get clear to jump up to the middle. And he will. He makes the move. Now they're going to start to bump and bang. Malik's trying to save it. Can they all hold on? Vicente goes to the bottom. There they go. They're all wrecking out of turn 4. Who sneaks through to win the race? It's going to be the 21 of John Ellis Jr. He wins it at Daytona. Malik brings home second, and Kyler finishes in third as they all wreck behind him. And man, oh man, you could see that just kind of getting out of shape as they started to get into turn 3. Everybody just, I hate to say it, but it almost kind of looked like everybody kind of started to forget discipline, and it was just kind of the mad scramble, and pushes all of a sudden weren't looking so pretty, moves weren't looking so good, and then, boy, they wadded him up pretty quickly here. But let's see how it actually gets started here. So there's a lap car on the apron. I don't think that played any role in anything. John Ellis Jr. had to have been boiling here, and he knows it. So as soon as he gets clear, he jumps up. Malik tries to block him, and, you know, Malik's a phenomenal driver. Nobody's questioned that. I don't think that was a good block in that scenario. I mean, hey, I guess the 7 makes it through, so who am I to talk, but that block is really what led to that stack up and kind of led to that wreck when Malik got loose. And then, I mean, watch this up top here. Actually, let's back this up a little bit more for you here. Malik tries to get up to cover. John Ellis Jr. says, I don't think so. If you're going to block, I'm not letting off here. But by him sliding up, you can see it causes a little bit of a stack up. Merck gets hit from his teammate here. The 7's on the bottom now. John Ellis Jr. is trying to hold the car in the middle. But then as the 7 gets back up the racetrack here, it's just a mess. I mean, that's really what it is. I don't even know if I would say so much that Malik actually directly led to the wreck, because kind of on second view, it doesn't look like that. I mean, certainly I agree that was a late block, but he did hold on to his race car. It almost looked like the initial start of the incident happened back there with the 2 teammates, Merck and Baker, kind of pushing through each other, which I think, of course, was a result of that stack up, but nonetheless, it's the way it goes sometimes on the last lap here, World Center of Racing. And once they came out of 4, you see John Ellis Jr. right here had all he needed, no run out back. Drag race though for second, and Kyler got down into the door. Malik trying to get a little bit physical there, but Malik was still able to hold on to that second place finish. As we go back live now, and it looks like we're not going to see any more celebrating from the 21. If we missed it, I'm not sure, but he has pulled it into the pits. So with that, we'll take a look at your finishing results here tonight before we go get your top 3 for interviews. John Ellis Jr., he is your winner here tonight. Thursday night takeover. Malik Ray finishes in second. Kyler Wynn in third. John Ward back in fourth with Joe Herda in 5th. Mike Allen in 6th. Good comeback from Mike Allen. You love to see that. The Team Alpha driver. He is the last payout position here tonight. Dalton Martin finishes in 7th. Ken McCullough Jr. 8th. Joshua McCullough in 9th. And Landon Velicki rounding out your top 10. Matthew Baker finishes 11th after being involved in that last lap incident with his teammate. Mike Davenport in 12th. J.R. Miller 13th. Cody Nagels in 14th. Ian Martin in 15th. Matt Lee in 16th. Jonathan Herbert 17th. Steven Scott Jr. in 18th. And rounding out your top 20 here tonight is Vicente Guerrero and Jeff Merck. Tucker McLennan finishes 21st. Trevor Oswanoth in 22nd. David Sheets 23rd. Brandon Matz 24th. Chase Mistretta in 25th. Ryan Bass 26th. Noah Rainwater 27th. Dylan Jones in 28th. Carl Matz in 29th. And Jared Haynes rounds out your top 30. James Waring in 31st, Evan Ray 32nd, Mark Vondell 33rd, Zach Roethlisberger in 34th, Christopher Carter 35th with Tristan Bruce in 36th, Nash Brambilla in 37th, Steve Sizemore 38th, Brian Hennings 39th, Joey Galati 40th, and Sean Corbett finishes out the field tonight in 41st. All right, we're going to go get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back at Daytona. All right, going to start first here tonight with your third place finisher. The Canadian driver, Kyler Wynn. Kyler, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, you bring home a podium finish here tonight, and I guess first question is, man, it looked like you set up everything just about perfect there. You were able to push Merck for a while, and then once the move presented itself, you take to the third lane, and then things got chaotic from there. Break us down turns 3 and 4 from your point of view. Kyler, you still got a copy?
Yeah, a moment.
And we'll give Kyler a minute here. Well, I'll tell you what, Kyler, if you can hear me, we'll bring you back up in just a moment. All right, so we'll go ahead and go straight to your winner for now, John Ellis Jr. John, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys. How's it going?
Good, man. You kind of reclaimed the throne here. We know how good you've been in PGR throughout its history, and you return to victory lane here tonight. But, boy, what a chaotic sequence there coming through 3 and 4. You make the move. You get blocked. Break us down. What happened there from your point of view?
It was just me and Malik going at it. I mean, he's one of the best out there on super speedway racing. We had a good group up front. Kyler's great, too. Baker, I'd like to think I'm pretty good, too, even when I'm not washed. But it was just fun, man. We were battling all race long. It was pretty good racing. Even when we were breaking away, we still were going at it. So I really enjoyed it. Last lap was just, he's got to make a move to win the race, and I made a move to try and win the race too. And ultimately, I came out on top. Hate that I kind of turned him a tad bit, but at that point, there's not really anything I can do. You're just making your move and you're staying in the gas.
Well, now that you found yourself back on victory lane here tonight, taking home a good amount of money, do you feel like this maybe kind of reignites the torch, and do you think you can maybe make it back-to-back ones next week?
I'm going to try for sure, man. I took an unintentional break from money racing, and I just kind of never came back, but I've been trying to sneak my way into a few on Thursday night here and there, and definitely going to try and continue to get more consistent with it, be back every week if I can.
Sounds good. Well, hey, man, you looked good here tonight. So before we let you head out to celebrate in victory lane, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I just want to thank, Ryko Performance, although it's a fixed setup race. I've been with them for about a year now, and they've helped make me to who I am now and given me a lot of talent. So I want to thank them, thank the guys I was racing with. It was a pretty clean race all around. So I guess thanks to everyone. I want to thank you for putting on the broadcast, Kenneth for hosting this, and in lieu of PGR not being able to make it, Michael Triscaro. I do want to start a petition to get this race to count for the PGR standings, though. So let's see if we can make that happen.
All right. Hey, there you go. Well, hey, we appreciate you talking to us tonight. John, again, congrats on the win, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, and we're going to see if we can... Don't see Malik in here tonight, so unfortunately it doesn't look like we're going to get a word with him, but we'll see if we can get Kyler here again. Hey, Kyler, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy? Try him one more time here. Hey, Kyler, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy? All right. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have communication right now. The driver of the 82, so not going to be able to get an interview, unfortunately, tonight. It looks like with Kyler Wynn or Malik Ray, so I do apologize for that. But nonetheless, I mean, what a great race it was overall, and I think John Ellis Jr. put it best. You got to make a move for the win, and, at the end of the day, when we look back at it a second time, I don't think the 7 is what causes that last wreck. I mean, maybe causes a little bit of chaos in checking up and maybe distracts some guys a little bit in the process, but it's true. I mean, he's got to try to block in order to have a shot to win, and, I mean, he blocked, John Ellis Jr. didn't lift, and neither of those two wrecked, so at the end of the day, it is what it is. Some guys not going to be happy, others are. At the end of the day, John Ellis Jr. is a winner, and he is back on top at PGR. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in here tonight. As always, I hope you enjoyed. That'll do it for me here tonight. Austin Green on PGR eSports. Till next time, have a good night.